I really don't know why people complain so much about the KNIPEX BIX, because to me, that's absolutely brilliant. If you're doing a waste, you want to try and keep your area nice and clean. If you're cutting it with a hacksaw or you're cutting it with a multi-tool or something like that, just get bits all over the show. I don't think it's worth it. This is just as fast, better cut. I think the biggest problem is actually people don't know how to use it, because you've got to apply the right pressure, an equal amount of pressure, and then it cuts it really nice. As you can see there, that's giving it a really clean, uniform cut. And you're not going to get that with a hacksaw. That blade in the center can be towards the side of the BIX to get a tighter cut when you're cutting against the wall. And the problem people are finding is when you do use it on that side edge, it's sort of cutting a corkscrew cut. So it's not cutting nice and straight. Problem is, when people are applying pressure, they're applying pressure to the whole BIX, and it's sort of tilting it slightly. So if you got that blade to the side, you need to apply pressure above the blade, not on the side of the blade, and that will give it a uniform pressure and cut through nice and easy. But it does take a bit getting used to, because when the pipe is fixed, you're not rotating the pipe, you're having to rotate the tool, and it's slightly more difficult than rotating the pipe. But it's just like anything, once you get used to it, it works perfectly. Now if you do want to change the blade on it and swap it to the side, just undo the screw. Just do be careful, because that blade is very sharp and you don't want to catch your finger on it. So undo the screw. The screw doesn't completely come out, it does retain the screw in there. You got a center divot which you put your finger in, and that slides out. Pull it out, turn it around, be careful with that blade, slide it back in, and that stays run about between 2 and 3 millimeter from the edge of your cutter. Screw your screw back in. Another thing I want to show you is that the BIX has got a spare blade, and it's actually tucked away underneath this section here. So if you just take your blade housing off, give that a tap, and you'll see that you actually get 2 spare blades with your BIX cutter. So for safekeeping, you want to wrap that blade up again and just slide it back in there so that you got it when you need it. Replacing your blade is very easy. You got that little base plate, and your blade has got 2 little holes. Just fit that base plate and locate the 2 holes. Then all you do, put it on top there. Always manually screw the screw in to start off with. And like I said, don't use a cordless or impact driver. Just a hand screwdriver will do, but I don't have one. There's your new blade fitted. Slide your blade in to the position you want it. So if you want it on the side, make sure you slide the blade in that the blade stays on the side. Tighten that up, and now you're ready to do your cut. One of the biggest problems that people are encountering is a corkscrew cut. The biggest reason for this is not having a sharp blade and not putting uniform pressure on top of the blade. Let me see if I can show you. And do remember that this does a directional cut, and you'll know by the arrows there. So there you go. So regardless if you're cutting it with the blade on the side or the blade in the center, the KNIPEX works just as good. I'll say one of the biggest issues people have with the KNIPEX BIX is because they're using it wrong. They're applying uneven pressure. They're using a blade that's not sharp and applying uneven pressure. Also, don't try and apply too much pressure to start off with. You want to create your groove, and that groove will act as a guide for your blade. And as you turn round, you apply the pressure slowly. Now, I know it's not for everybody and the price might not suit you, but it is a quality tool.